In today's tutorial, we are going to go about painting this here. I have painted a wood circle, so it's just wood circle. And I gave it a blue base coat for those who wanted something different than black, because we do use black a lot. And this is a little bit more of an intricate design. It's nothing too hard, I promise. It is just more, you know, like different shapes, and kind of just squeeze them all together and do different designs and fill it in. And there's some small dots, but nothing too crazy here. So if you are ready to give this a try, then grab your tools and your paints and let's get started. Be sure to stay tuned after the tutorial part is over for a little bit of me talking about some upcoming things and showing you some Pablo baby. Alright, so here are the paints that are used in today's tutorial along with the tools. This is a 10-inch wood circle. It's pretty smooth, just as it is. So for today's base coat, we're going to use a color called Tropical Blue. This is a Deco Art Americana acrylic paint. You do want to shake your paint regardless, because paints can settle and separate a little bit. No big deal. And you do want to use a nice wide brush just to make the job a little easier and smoother in appearance. Let that first layer dry all the way. You can use a blow dryer if you want. And then go ahead and put a second coat on. It just makes it really nice and even. If you use a blow dryer, I do suggest you use it on the cool temperature. Here's a pro tip. I like to lightly sand my wooden pieces, even with the paint on there. As long as you're not using a rough sandpaper, a fine grit is perfect. And it does smooth out the project and help the paint to not bleed out. So I do definitely recommend giving it a really light sanding. Now this is my my kneaded eraser, but it works, you know, for all kinds of reasons. I love the kneaded eraser. And this stencil you can find on my website. And I just put a little bit in the middle to hold my stencil down. And I'm using a slate chalk pen or pencil. I don't know what they're called. I think it's slate chalk pencil. And just tracing it out. And then when you go to lift it up, you just pop your eraser back off and you're good to go. I just centered it by eyeballing it. But you can draw guidelines on if you want. That's up to you. So the first middle dot is going to be with the mint tool and the berry cobbler paint. Now you do want to make sure you have a really nice even coating of paint on the tool. If you have any little dry spots, it won't be an even dot, and you know you want an even dot. And then I always like to smooth out that center dot, or you know, the larger dots that I make with the larger tools, just by using a nail stylus and just kind of swirling it out. If you feel like you need some extra paint, just go ahead and dip your nail stylus before you smooth it out, and that makes it nice and even. Okay, so for the next color, I'm going to use a color called Wild Orchid, and I'm using the white dotting tool from my dotting tool set. I'm just going to place a dot right down in between each of the little drops. I don't know what they're called. They look kind of like teardrops. And then in between each of those, we're going to draw, or not draw, dot straight out, right in between those, really close to the main center dot there, and then just dot straight out through that little teardrop shape, straight down the middle. And that was with the size 2 nail stylus. And then we're going to go ahead and use that same berry cobbler and go around either side. So we're just going to kind of loop it around and just use your guideline and just kind of stay right on the guideline and dot all the way down to the tip. And do this to each one of those. Alright, and your next color is called Dragon Fruit. I'm going to stick with the same size 2 nail stylus, and I go right in between each of the little eyes, or right out from the Wild Orchid really light purple paint dots. And I do 2 dots out and then 3 across to either side of the little diamond shape. The next color is called Cadmium Red, and when it dries it's a little bit on the orange side, but I really like this color. It's a nice, rich, warm color. And I'm using the white dotting tool, and I'm just going to put 1 dot right in the middle of each of the little diamond shapes. The next tool is the pink tool, and we're going to go right in between each of the diamond shapes. Now you want to just kind of be hugging all of these together as close as you can, obviously without purposely going into the other dots, but you know, as well as you can snug it in there, then go ahead and snuggle it up in there. Alright, and then moving to your size 5 nail stylus, we're going to stick with the cadmium red, and we're going to kind of just dot up and around these larger eye looking shapes. So start down at the base where the larger orange or the larger cadmium red dots are, and then dot up one side, and then redip your tool, go to the other side, and dot all the way up. I think I counted up about 7 or 8. And just let your guidelines do the work here. You know, if you just hug right to that guideline, your dots will be nice and neat and in the shape that they need to be. This next color is a yellow paint. It's called Marigold, and I'm going to be using the blue tool, the light blue tool here. And I'm going to place a dot of the marigold right down at the base there, all the way to one side, closest to all the cadmium red dots that I can without going into them. And that way I have a nice room for these petals that we're going to make. So we're going to start off the first row for your bridge here with the size 1 nail stylus, which is the very smallest one that I have. And I'm just going to put a dot right in the center, just kind of eyeballing it. You absolutely could draw on extra guidelines. I did not. I'm not seeking, you know, perfect bridges here. I, you know, obviously want them in some sort of order, but not perfection. Just relax and have fun. It's about doing it, not, you know, the outcome. So the first row was size 1, followed by size 2, followed by size 3 here. And you're going to make 2 rows with the size 3. You start in the middle, dot down one side, just dot right to the edge and stop at that point. And then redip your tool, redot the first dot, and then dot down the other side. And then we went back with the 2, and then I go to size 1 for the last 2 little bit of rows there that I can fit. And it kind of looks like feathers in a way. I thought this was a neat little effect there. So, alright, the next color is called Wild Orchid. It's that light purple. We're going to bring that out again, and we're going to use the pink tool. And you want it to be closest to the base of that outer little shape there, not the diamond shapes, but the little teardrop shapes. And now you can get out your cadmium red again, and we're going to use the size 5 nail stylus, and just like we did on the opposite side of this little feather looking set of bridges here, we're going to go ahead and go in towards the other way in the opposite direction. And again, I think it was 7 or 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Yep. And it fit just right next to the last one of the other side, so it worked out pretty good. All right. So now we are ready to move on to the dragon fruit color with the size 5 nail stylus. And I'm just going to dot, I think it was 8 down one side, the first side, 7 or 8 down the other side, and then you're going to go in with like 7 and then 6, and just alternate sides, and you're going to get less and less that will fit. But 1, 2, and then I go 1 and then 1 on the tip. So 8 down, go to the other side, go 8 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2. There you go. And that part is all finished. Now we're going back with the light purple paint and the white tool, and just place a dot on either side of the larger purple dots there. Then grab your size 5 nail stylus, and you're going to dot right out from that last dot, and just dot all the way out as far as you can go. It's usually about, I don't know, 8 dots or so. Up either side, all the way around. Alright, now I'm going to be putting a larger dot of the berry cobbler right inside of those light purple little arms. And again, just swirling that paint out so it's nice and even with my size 5 nail stylus. I think the larger the nail stylus, the better it is for the swirling. And then those do have to dry, but all the middle is pretty much dry. But definitely give ample time to dry for all this. Going back with the cadmium red and the pink tool, I'm going to place a dot right in the tip of that little teardrop on the outer edge there, followed up by a dot to either side of those dots with the white tool and the cadmium red. And then we're going to dot down towards the center with the size 5 nail stylus, all the way down, and just kind of hug around that large berry cobbler dot, all the way down. Now the middle is dry, and so are the yellow dots, and I am going to top dot those, so I'm going to go ahead and start with that. I'm going to go back with the marigold paint. I'm going to use my yellow dotting tool. I'm going to place a center dot right in the center of the large berry cobbler dot, and that's with yellow. And then I'm going to take the berry cobbler paint and place a dot hugging towards the center edge of the larger yellow dots. So we're just alternating the colors. And then once the larger dots are dry on the outer edge, we will top dot those with yellow. But right now, those need to dry, so just go ahead and do what you can do at this point. That is looking beautiful. And then I am going to take a very small tool and dot straight out that little diamond that we had done earlier. I'm going to go ahead and dot straight out right in between those. You can feel free to skip this step if you are a little nervous about getting some dots in there, or if maybe your dots, you don't think this row would fit. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm just kind of filling in the space. And then with the dragon fruit paint and the white tool, I'm going to put a dot on each of the little dots. The stencil has little dots right on the edges, so I was just kind of copying that. And that's it. Now this is the next day. Everything is very well dry. There's nothing wet anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and top dot the larger dots like I was saying. Use your light blue tool, and I am going to angle them down towards the center here for these top dots. So go ahead and hug that edge, that one edge there.
Alright, going back with the light purple paint, size 4 nail stylus, and just kind of dot straight down one side of the large teardrops. Redip your tool and then dot down the other side. Just kind of finishing off that light purple. And you do want to make sure this is really, really well dried. This is, you know, if it's wet at all, do not even try to get your guidelines off yet. But once it's dry, maybe overnight or something, you can use your kneaded eraser. I find these are the very best. It's like the best combination ever for guidelines. They come right off with the kneaded eraser. I love it. And they're gone. Poof. And now I'll show you on this little edge here. You just give it a little bit of a scrub and it's gone. And now that last little edge, scrub it, poof, it's gone. I love it. I love it. I feel like I struggled for at least the first year of drawing on guidelines and trying to erase them. Just with the wrong products. These are definitely the way to go, in my opinion at least. So yeah, just go ahead and scrub your whole piece. Anywhere you see a guideline, you want to make sure you get it off before you varnish it or put any kind of protection coat on it. And that's it. That is the final piece right there. I really hope you liked this tutorial, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you're new to my channel, I would absolutely love to have you as a subscriber. Don't forget to hit that little bell icon for updates of when I upload new videos, or you will probably not hear about them. YouTube's got some weird ways of letting people know. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.
I got a treat for you, indeed. I got my baby. Oh, sweet baby. I call him Sweetie. Oh, Sweetie, I say. Oh, Sweetie. Hi, Sweetie. Oh, you're eating my hair, bud. Don't know what I was gonna say. What is it called on Instagram? Takes me a while, sorry. Sometimes I have those days where I'm like, huh. The right words just don't come to mind.